Hi, my name's Lou, and today I'm going to be reading the internet for you. Why? Well, why not? And today's what is going to be the forums at Grass City. Now, Grass City is a counterculture community, self-described, which deals with the growing and smoking of marijuana. I'm sure some of you can appreciate that, and I'm going to read some of these forums for you. Let's start reading these things. The first thread I'll be reading is in the Grass City Forums, subforum Chill Out Zone, subforum Real Life Stories, in a thread entitled, The Most Embarrassing Thing You've Done Stoned Before. And the original post is by 420L. Hey GC, just chilling as always, and was wondering what you guys' most embarrassing moments were while stoned before. I'll start with the time I was super stoned. I mean, fuck, on New Year's, and I went downstairs to take a huge shit, and I flushed, and thought it went down, but it didn't. But by that time, I was already upstairs, and the next day I wake up and try to use the bathroom, and the fucking thing is still there clogging the fucking pipe, and everyone is like, WTF? And I had to take the blame for it because I'm the ruler of the throne at my house? Haha, pretty fucking embarrassing. Anyone else? MN Toker writes, Fuck, that's not embarrassing, man. Take pride. Haha. No, but really for me, my most embarrassing, man, that's a big complicated word, moment. Well, actually, it's my friend's most embarrassing moment, really. But yeah, same thing. Basically, we were walking back to his house from my house after smoking. So anyways, I don't remember the actual conversation, but it went something like this. Me. Yeah, dude? Friend. Yeah, that stuff's pretty good. Me. Your mom's pretty good. Friend. I'll come on my mom. Me. Dude, what the hell? Friend. Nah, it's cool. Nobody's home. Me. All right. So my friend goes inside to grab us some drinks. I'm sitting there on the steps waiting, and he comes out laughing and tells me his mom was right there, but she was on the phone, so she doesn't think she heard him. In my opinion, she heard him, but it was too awkward. This is the stupidest story. It's like, Sanctum Polaris writes, Haha, damn, that sucks, dude. Whatever, though. Not like anyone can say they don't take shits. Haha. One of the worst things that I've done, that I can remember, is forgetting how to play rock, paper, scissors. I was doing fine for a while, and then I started throwing up gang signs I didn't even know existed, and I couldn't remember that there was a rock option. This was in front of my big brother and his friends about a week ago. Haha. I've probably done more embarrassing things, like ripping a hole in my jeans in the ass pocket because a cop pulled up, and I hopped the fence behind me. Come to find that it was a taxi. I had to walk home with a hole in my jeans, and my friends would not let me live it down for like 2 months. Satchel replies, I zoned out. Then I ate a booger. Didn't realize it until my buddy looks at me with one of those faces. Dude, did you just eat that? What? I must have had the munchies. Fucking shit. Falcon writes, Greened out on a public bus out of nowhere. I had just started smoking and was used to smoking low-quality outdoor. And I went with a friend over to his dealer's house to pick up the usual. And the dealer, and really crazy-looking purple buds and overcharged, but thought, oh well, it's killer weed. Smoked countless bong loads there, then smoked, then hotboxed in my shed for a few minutes later. Got on the bus and headed home. Everything was fine. I was stoned out of my mind, sitting at the back of the bus, enjoying any bumps that came along. We hit this pretty big speed bump going maybe 85. I have no idea how the drived managed it, but he did. And bam, got some really intense nausea. And about 3 seconds later, projectile vomited against the back of the seat in front of me. The lady a seat over gave me one of those what in the fuck kind of faces, and just looked forward with a screwed up expression on my face. Just glad my friends weren't there, or I'd never live it down. Haha. What? Stories are so stupid. Okay. And in a different thread, J. Brody A. writes, in the Chill Out Zone subforum, Real Life Stories subforum, in a thread entitled, First Time with Mushrooms. So this was the last day of my junior year, a few days ago, and my friend just got a half-O of shrooms and was selling them. I bought a half-eighth for $20 and ate them in a car on the way to a party. Now, I've read that the first time trippin' is best done not at a party, but I decided to go for it anyway. I ate them at about 8 lost a game of beer pong, smoked a bowl, and started to trip. I started to feel the strangest sensation in my hands and feet, like they're half asleep. I tell my friend this, and he laughs at me. Then I look down to see a footprint make itself on the floor of the garage. After this, I got up to play beer pong again, and in the process spilled my beer, and after promptly picking it back up, watched the foam turn into liquid for a bit, and thought it was the craziest thing I'd ever seen. I played a couple of good games of Pong after that, then somehow a game was disbanded about halfway through overtime. At this point, I find out it's only 10, and that blows my mind, because it feels like it should be around 12. There's a good amount of people at this party, most of whom are drunk, and a few who keep trying to mess with me, which only proceeds to annoy me. I take my trip upstairs, where the setting is a bit more laid back. I start a game of pool and make my first 3 shots. Then the game gets disbanded as well. I sit down at the nearby couch and get into conversations about shrooms and reality. I've felt like experiencing shrooms was something I had been missing for a while, and that it was like I was finally in the right place. After staring at the carpet for a few minutes, I look up at the wall with a bunch of CDs and records on it because someone who lived there was in a band or something. Then I watched them pop out of the wall, and the light on them was turning. That was the last visual I saw that night. The rest of the night was a lot of the same thing. I'd go somewhere chill with a few people, then everyone else would end up there too, and I felt like it was too much for me to take, so I'd leave. I found I really wanted to go for a walk, but didn't trust myself to get back, so I couldn't, which made me unhappy as well. That happened for the rest of the night. After a while of this, I went upstairs to smoke a blunt, and I ended up getting smoked out on a few more bowls as well. Just before everyone was leaving, a couple people started doing some of the craziest shit I've ever seen, like miming playing a violin, then eating it. I crashed at my friend's, who sold me the shrooms, and ended up staying up until like 5:30 building Legos. Now I'm just waiting till I can get more money and try it again. Just thought I'd share with this community. Skate Dank replies, "Your experience was similar to mine, at a small party. The main visuals I remember was painting with watercolors, which blew my mind, and staring at the carpet because I thought each strand was a person and they were cheering. After the visuals went away, I just wandered around and talked a lot, and I couldn't get over how slow time was going by. Oh yeah, you should definitely drink something carbonated while tripping. It feels sick." Walton Chunky replies, "Sounds a lot more chill than my first time on mushrooms. We had 4 grocery bags packed so tight with mushrooms it's almost as if you could step on them and none of them would break. I ate about 23 to 25 caps. I don't feel like going into the whole story, but I did slip and crash my face through my friend's porch. Ah, old wacky times, being 15 again." And finally, Sublime Fan 420 replies, "Haha, dude. My first shroom trip was last night. It was fucking amazing. I can totally relate to the hands thing. I stared at mine for like 20 minutes. Looking at the veins and like the thought that I could control my hand boggled my mind. I also had half an eighth. I can definitely not wait for my next trip." Again in the real life stories thread, Mr. Magic writes in a thread entitled, "Friend drank the grossest thing ever." Okay, so I have this friend, let's call him R. Every time he has sex, he puts his dick in this water bottle and swishes it around to clean it. He changes the water. This cleans all of the semen and vaginal fluid that's on it. This time he just fell asleep before throwing out the water. He then invited me and my friend Jay over. We are smoking, and after a particularly harsh hit, Jay picks up the water bottle, and R is not paying attention. Jay then proceeds to chug half of it. He then says, "Ew, how long has this water been in this bottle? It tastes nasty." R took one look at him and started cracking up. It took us 5 minutes to get him to stop laughing and tell us why he was laughing. When he told us what it was, Jay started to throw up all over the place, and R freaked out, because now there is barf in his room, and I'm just sitting there cracking the fuck up. Buffalo Soldier RX replies, "Ha ha 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 ha. That reminds me of the time when I was in high school, and I was hanging out at a friend's house with a few other kids, and one of the kids drank perfectly fine water, and we all looked at him like he was nuts and all. Did I just drink bong water?" And we cracked up, and he threw up. We wouldn't have done that if we knew he would chuck everywhere. Kinda mean looking back at it, but hey, high schoolers will be high schoolers. In a similar thread, Stoned Toad writes, in the Real Life Stories subforum, in a thread he titled, "Friend just drank my piss, LOL. Haha. Yeah, well, haha. So me and my buddy were just breaking in his new number 2 bowl with some pretty good weed. So we're in my room just chilling, and he says he's thirsty, so I told him to grab a soda. So after another 5 minutes or so, he says that he's thirsty again. Last night I bought a 32-ounce iced tea, drank it, pissed in it in the middle of the night because I didn't want to go to the bathroom. LOL, so yeah. So I handed him the cup and said, here's some iced tea that I got last night. He asked what I did to it. I said nothing, and I turned my head to look at my computer screen. Then I said, JK, don't drink it, it's my piss. And I look at him, and he spits it out all over. It was fucking so nasty, but so hilarious. Haha, I feel like a dick, but I didn't mean to. But wow, I'm ripped, and it's funny. And we're about to get some White Shark and Trainwreck. I'll be sure to get some macros up. And BTW, he isn't even really mad. I think he likes piss." Peace for Life replies, "Pissing in the bottle, that is a prime example of lazy. Then again, I was so stoned I couldn't make it to the bathroom at a friend's house and just peed outside the window." Brooklyn Bacardi writes, "My boyfriend doesn't like walking across the house in the middle of the night to go, so he just pisses out my 2-story window. At first it was weird, but now I'm used to it. Haha." And finally, we'll finish up with some stories from the Grass Cities, Chill Out Zone, Real Life Stories, subthread, Funny Stoned Conversations with Parents. Unfortunately, these stories involve conversations, so I'll have to do some character acting. Please forgive me if this sounds retarded. Savvy writes, "My mom's funny sober, but fucking hilarious when I'm high. She's so goofy. Early Easter morning, we were in Safeway grocery shopping, and I'd smoked a fat spliff before we left. But of course, she didn't know this. So we were in the spices aisle, and we couldn't find the spice she was looking for. My mom takes this one spice shaker thingy off the shelf and is like, 'This looks like that marijuana.' That's how she says it. And she hands it to me laughing. It didn't actually look like weed, but I just laughed and was like, 'Yeah, it does.' And then she's like, 'Yeah, you'd know all about that, wouldn't you? You smoke that kooky leaf.' I had to walk to a different aisle because I was laughing so hard. My parents always say shit like that to me and my sister. It was so funny." Autis writes, "My parents set up an quote-unquote intervention meeting when they figured out that I was smoking back when I was 16. They got me home on the pretense it would be going out to dinner. 'We know you smoke marijuana.' 'Oh?' 'We're very disappointed. Get the drug test.' 'Oh, we'll give it to you tomorrow, but for now, let's go get some food.' 'So, why are you giving me a drug test?' I had just smoked and was baked out of my mind. I had also just gone to the grocery store and bought M&Ms, then proceeded to completely zone out at the register. The cashier was saying, 'Hello? Hello?' when I snapped back to attention. Now my dad and I regularly talk about weed." J-Cross adds, "Over the summer, me and my friends were at a party smoking and drinking, and thought it would be cool to shave mohawks in our hair. Well, let's just say that was up there on the really retarded scale. Anyway, 'Hey Dad, what's up?' trying to act casual. 'Nothing, just watching TV.' Dad turns on the lights. 'Oh God, please tell me you were completely shit-faced. I don't want to believe that my own son is stupid enough to do something like that sober.' I lost it right there. I had to go to my room to stop laughing." And finally, Pickly writes, "The funniest thing that happened to me was me and about 3 friends had just finished smoking 2 Crippy blunts and went inside. Of course, my parents came home 10 minutes later, and like 3 hours earlier than they said. My mom walks in and puts her hand up to her mouth and acts like she's smoking a joint, and laughed and nodded at me. So I went up and said, 'No, what makes you think that?' She said, 'You seem all freaked out and you look all Asian.' I started laughing so hard. I talked to her later and she told me, 'I know you already got caught with your friend. I don't care, I just thought it was funny.' And I go, 'How do you know that?' She looked at me, laughed, and said, 'You told me last week.' I started laughing so hard I could barely stand. She had to know I was high at the time. I told her, and at that moment, it was great. That's when I learned my parents are awesome." Okay, well, that has been Lou reading the Grass City forums for you. I hope that you've enjoyed it, and remember that I did not write any of these things. I do not condone or reject the smoking of marijuana. I'm just reading it. If you were to say, offer me a joint, maybe I would take it. Maybe I wouldn't. I guess you're just going to have to find that out for yourself. Thanks for listening once again, and be sure to check out loureads.com at LOUREADS.com for the latest and greatest dumb crap from the internet, read for you by me. Please remember to leave a comment if you like what you're hearing, and if you're downloading it from the iTunes store, make sure that you rate it nicely, only if you like it. Don't just do it for me. I don't think our relationship is there yet. And keep a lookout for a contact form that I'm going to put up so that if you know a form that you want me to read from, you can submit it there, and I will attempt to read or find interesting things to read on said forums. All right, thanks again for listening. This has been Lou from loureads.com. We'll see you soon.